Nigeria, on Wednesday, the 1st of October 2025, marked 65 years of self-governance and independence from the Western powers. While there is an almost general consensus that the nation is not exactly where it ought to be in terms of emancipation and development, the facts as to whether we are on the right path has been extensively debatable, especially on the watch of the current political administration. Some social and public affairs analysts who are reflecting on grim antecedents of history have concluded that Nigeria is a nation wherein its best is always in its past, and this simply means the reverse gear and several steps in retrogression. Also, satellite on Oluyole 98.5 FM this afternoon. We'll be discussing Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary and state of the nation. Your anchor on the program. All right, now to business, Elder Ajilore, and let's start with this. Do you think Nigeria and the birth of the Nigerian entity was a mistake?
Yeah, thank you very much. The birth of Nigeria is not a mistake. How can a country be without a sense of citizenship? The name Nigeria, we all know how it came by without really going run the entire space to bring out the name Nigeria. We were all aware of how the two protectorates, the northern and the southern protectorates, were fraudulently amalgamated, without the consent of the people they are going to call Nigerians.
Fraudulently.
Fraudulent.
Between fraud and mystic.
Fraudulently amalgamated in the sense that two different protectorates, operating on two different laws, coming together, merging together since 1914, and still leveraging on that same law. Different laws for different people, indicating that we have different people, different desires, different destinies.
There is a constitution.
So
what constitutions?
The word constitution, it just remains a constitution on paper, because in practice and in reality, it has created a lot of problems. That's the major reason why today Nigeria is grappling with all manners of problems and challenges. And that is the reason Nigeria's problem today is not one, not two, not three, living with up to today. But they are painful, bigger realities of our time in Nigeria. So that is why I say that. That is why I look at Nigeria much. The northern protectorates and the southern protectorates. One on the criminal operating on criminal penal code, and the other one on I remember now. So in the month of March 1957, Ghana was formerly known as the Gold Coast. That was then. So when Ghana took the lead, so other countries within the sub-Saharan region began to follow suit. Now, in 1960, about 17 African countries actually gained independence. That was in 1960, and that's why it was seen that year. The year 1960 was seen as the year of Africa. 1960. I don't remember the month now. Then followed by Congo. That was in June. But Congo's one was very, very spectacular. It was June 30th, 1960. You know, that's Congo. And unfortunately, less than a week, Congo messed up. That's then September. I mean, not September. June 30th. Then by July 5th, thereabout, okay, the independence failed, and that's why the southern part was ready. The northern region will not want any independence as at that time. So what happened was that within a space of 2, 3, 4 months, about 10 more countries gained independence. In fact, in the month of August alone, eight countries within sub-Saharan African countries, you know, gained independence. That means you have, among them you have Benin Republic, you know, Chad, Ghana, you know. That's in the month of August 1960. Now, Nigeria seeing this and referring to himself as the giant of Africa, and see as something that they rubbed on his face. So, began to make moves as to how to gain their own independence within that year, 1960. And that was how we pushed and pushed till October 1st, 1960, that we had our independence in Nigeria.
Oluyole, I want you to fast forward them a bit. Now, also come back to the issues of pre-independence movements and the constitution that binds us together, the different codes that you mentioned that a fragile binding together from, if I get your drift. Now, I said I wanted you to fast forward. Do you think Nigeria has fared well under the Western style democracy that we currently practice? Or do we need to evolve our own style of democracy that will be suited to our own peculiar circumstances? I mean, bearing in mind the peculiar political circumstances.
You see, it means people. And Croatia, you know, rule. Demos, that's people. Croatia, that's rule. And it's the rule of the people. Now, if you ask us today, is it the people, when you talk about the generality of the people, you know, and the power over to a leader to rule them, and the voice of the people, you know, asking for those that they put in the position of leadership, being answerable to them, is it working? Is there need for us to coin our own democracy, or look at how we practice our own democracy that it suits us, our own style of democracy that as it suits us? If that is the direction we want to look at, this is how it's going to work, because it will never work until we have not decided on. Nigeria has not decided on their destination as people, and until we have our vision, until we have vision, our mission, we have a goal, aim, and purpose of democracy that will take us, to make us to arrive at our desired destination. We are not arrived anywhere, because a pilot, you know, spends most of his hours in the cockpit plotting his path to arrive at the destination. He doesn't just stay in the cockpit, you know, eating and drinking. No, he knows that the moment the pilot knows that the moment he misses the path to his destination, then calamity is imminent. That is the way Nigeria is going, and that is the reason Nigeria is moving in a particular direction. As we see ourselves, not know where we are going.
Is it that Nigerians do not know where they want to go, or is it that the successive pilots have simply refused to take Nigerians where they are supposed to take them?
Now, the successful pilots happen to be, be in form of a head of states, presidents, and all that. Just like I said, at the root of every man's problem is mentality. It is the mentality that we use, that the successive leaders have used to lead the people that resides in the people. That is the mentality of corruption, the mentality of what do I get from this, the mentality of religion, mentality of region, the mentality of complacency, kind of impunity.
So the pilot is a reflection of his passengers.
Exactly, and this has really defined us, even as unfortunately, even as black men. I don't know whether there's something inherently wrong within an African man. I don't know.
That question.
I don't know.
Is it in the genes, because you said that the pilot is also a reflection of his passenger. So is that who we are? Is it in our genes?
It's a reflection of who we are. I think there is an agreement on the point that if you have an idiot, if you have an idiot as or if an idiot is in power, it is just the reflection of those it is the reflection of those who elected him,
who put him there.
If your leaders are corrupt, it is a reflection of those who put him there. So we are. It is so unfortunate that Nigerians don't actually know what they want. In particular, they don't know where to head. Especially when it comes to leadership, issue of religion, issue of religion, issue of region itself, and even legions. I'm bringing in the word legions now because of there is this inner demons in African leaders. I don't really understand them, and this hidden Lucifer that continues to push them, all around on daily basis. Look at it. Look at Cameroon. Like I told you that it was Cameroon. The Cameroon got its independence on the 1st of January, 1960, and ever since then they have only had only two presidents, and the present president, Paul Biya, has been there since 1982. From 1982, that's over 40 years ago. Election will be so there is this inner, I don't know, this inner demons, this inner they say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Is it this absolute power that corrupts absolutely has transformed most of African leaders into another being entirely. Now let's come back to Nigeria. Look at the way our own leaders, that's presidents, in the past, what they bring to the table, the mentality that we used to even elect them. I remember when President Goodluck Jonathan was being, when the opposition parties, are trying to push him out of power, all they were looking for was a man who could get the vote for them. Not a man who can govern, but a man who could really who already had 12 million votes in his pocket, who already had 12 million people. They are people, they are human beings.
You don't think that is important for a politician? Of course, they should be looking for votes. They should be looking for who can win the votes. What's the essence if a politician cannot win?
As important as that could be, That is not the purpose of governance. And that is not the purpose of governance. Governance from is it from the Latin one or what that's called Cubano. That's a driver. You are looking for a driver who could really do the job. All right. Then you look for somebody like late President Muhammadu Buhari, who at the end of the day was begging even at the point of death was begging everybody that they should please forgive him. Even before he was buried, his wife was even asked, he said that before we bury the president, that he has asked for the forgiveness of Nigerians. Everybody, for what purpose? You see, so what we have is all about bad leadership. Until we get it right in the arena of leadership, we are arriving at nowhere.
I still want to come back to the court of the people, Elder Oluyole. You did mention that there is an ideal vision. There is that vision which you have, which I have. Don't you think that the reason we are not arriving at that vision and this destination that you are talking about is because perhaps other Nigerians may not really share that vision. Maybe they don't have the same vision as you have. Other Nigerians, particularly who are not of your ethnic nationality, who are not from the same part of the country as you, maybe they do not see the things you see as progress to be progress indeed. Are you looking in that direction that other parts of the country, other Nigerians may not agree with what you see as the ideal vision as to where Nigeria should be?
And yes, you see, we have been using the word see, which is vision. To see, it is to see. And vision combines two key elements, the element of insight and foresight. You don't bring an individual that lacks the insight, that lacks the capacity to see, far ahead. Who is a leader? A leader is the one who knows the way, who goes the way and shows the way. You don't bring a blind leader to come lead blind people. So Africans and Nigeria, are we so blind as to now continue to bend towards those who will always see nothing but blindness, who will see nothing but empty? You see, all we want is peace. It does not matter the vision. It does not matter where you bring that. All we want is peace. And before you can have peace, you must have vision. You must have your vision. Your vision that will guarantee equal rights and justice. It must always be a place. That's why up until today, Nigeria is still finding it difficult to become a nation. Because without a vision, you cannot build a nation. And you must first believe in what you want to build. Even to build yourself, you must believe in yourself. Because until you believe in yourself, you cannot even build yourself. Not to even talk of building a business or building a nation. So as we speak today, the lack of vision is the reason Nigeria has not become a nation.
You don't agree with President Tinubu in his independence anniversary speech where he said the worst times are over for Nigeria. Mind you, he didn't say the problems are solved. He said the worst times are over for Nigeria. You don't believe him, do you?
That the worst times are over. I don't believe him. It is true that there is need for us to have an optimistic mindset. Because God even expects us to have an optimistic mindset.
He wasn't optimistic. He was speaking emphatically.
No.
He seemed to be sure of what he was saying.
That
the worst times are over.
That the worst time are over. In fact, there is still
you have turned the bend.
We have not turned any bend. Because anything that even bends you, is expected to end you. Anything that bends a man, his aim is to end him. All right, turning the bend is able to end Nigeria because of what? Issue, and that's why he says that we are winning. Indication that's to indicate that we are winning. In what we do. Have we won in the area of poverty alleviation? In the area of insecurity, even issue of corruption? Have we won and are we winning? And when poverty is a form of capitalism, in fact, corruption right from the top is the major trouble, because and the worst form of corruption is the corruption of the mind. You see, when the mind of a leader of individual is corrupt, there might be a total mind re-engineering of the mind, which is also called mental re-engineering or mindset re-engineering, will need to happen. But as we speak today, the worst, in fact, there is a fire in our future. One, when I was talking about insecurity issue, look at what is happening to us now in Nigeria as it pertains to insecurity. Northeast, Northwest, in trouble. Look at look at North Central. Look at all manners of devastation from Plateau State to Benue State to Nasarawa, to Niger State. Now, very close to us in the Southwest, Kwara State. Kwara is burning as we speak. People are dying. People are afraid. Fear has gripped them. So if you say you are winning and you say the worst times are over, where is the worst time that is over when the insecurity level is so high, and the crime, and when you now look at poverty itself, which is the major driver of all of this, poverty that happens to be the parent of crime and even revolution at the end of the day. You are not tackling poverty as should be. Buhari, I remember, I think that should be in I think 2019. I think Buhari promised, that he was going to lift 100 people out of poverty in 10 years. All right. Now we lift out 100 million people out of poverty in 10 years. But by the time Buhari will leave in 2023, he left 133 people in multidimensional poverty. Now, how do we, when you look at all manners of this, and people will be telling you, oh, the worst time is over, and you believe such, I will not believe it until I see it reflected in the lives of majority of the people in Nigeria.
The war against corruption as the cankerworm, like you have mentioned, that has perpetually been at the root of our unending challenges as a nation. Now, how would you rate the war against corruption? Because I ask this question because for the very first time, and something that I am impressed with, the books of the Nigeria's major petroleum company, the NNPCL, the books have been opened, and we are having attempts at reform in the oil sector, although corruption seems to be fighting back in that sector. So how would you want to rate this? I think this government is trying to introduce the much needed reforms in the petroleum sector, which is the lifeline of the Nigerian economy.
And yes, when it comes to corruption in the NNPC, the oil stuff, we know that is where you have the major chunk of practice of corruption. And the practice of corruption, in-depth, when you look at in-depth corruption, this is where it resides. And that's what in fact, as they will even say in Warri, I will tell you that this is where corruption take belle touch ground. So look at, let's just look at this now. We are talking of proceeds from oil exports now. Let's look back and at this time of independence, proceeds from cocoa exports, we all remember, was used on this basis that Cocoa House was built. 26-story building was erected, I think that was 1965. Yeah, I think it should be 1965, about 60 years ago. I don't know if when was that? Yes, it was in 1965. Yes, it was in 1965 that Cocoa House was erected. Now, from that proceed, now compare to what is happening in NNPC today. Remember that oil exploration, started decades back, and look at humongous amount of money that they made in the past, and the kind of reforms that's being embarked upon now is anyway. Those who really understand better what the word reform means to them, maybe they will throw more light into this. But what I know, all I know is this: that all that our leaders are interested in is to look at the best way to impress us, to vote for them again in come 2027. The issue of the collective agenda 2030 has no relevance to them. I'm talking of the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal Agenda, 2030. It's not to them. And if you look at even the first, when you look at the number one priority there, the number one goal of the SDG, which is no poverty. What has, with all of these reforms, it has become a cancer. You see, anytime you see, anytime you see you hear a cancerous situation, a cancerous system that we see in Nigeria, where poverty has become so systemic. Cancer, the word cancer simply means cell division out of control. So corruption cells has become out of control in Nigeria. In fact, it is so deep into our families that the prayer is that it will not destroy, it will not kill Nigeria.
Our program is still Searchlight on Oluyole 98.5 FM, and we'll have this a quick break, and we'll be back. It's good to know you are still there, and the program is still Searchlight on Oluyole 98.5 FM. The topic for discussion this afternoon on Searchlight is Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary and state of the nation. My guest, a respected public affairs analyst, social activist, and the coordinator of Peace Advocates Nigeria, Elder Johnson Ajilore. And to be part of the program this afternoon, we welcome your questions and your contributions. You can reach us on 070-5555-1985, 070-5555-1985, or 080-5500-9850. Well, Elder Ajilore, something that should be of concern to every Nigerian was reported in the dailies this morning, and that's about the fact that nations of the world, but like the advanced nations, are moving away from fossil fuels. They're moving to clean energy. So they are saying that the demand for oil exports, for petroleum, is going to reduce on the global market. They said that is very imminent. So how worried are you about this, and then our prospects at diversification, especially into agriculture? You mentioned cocoa just before we went on that break.
Yes, we only this is an indication that we need to put on our thinking caps, see, and need for us to be very strategic in thinking this time around. Life is dynamic. Life is not static. You see, as clean energy the use of clean energy is being promoted and projected the way it is now, there is the opportunity for us as people to now see an advantage, to see our breakthrough coming. Why? One, we have all that it takes to survive. We have the resources that it takes to survive, without oil. We have the resources, but all that is lacking is the resourcefulness. And resourcefulness, comes in the area of coming up with deep thoughts that will liberate us from whatever dangers that we might enter into as a result of this. When you look at global warming, because the fear generally is the threat that global warming is posing to the entire world through as a result of various activities that pervades our world, the use of all manners of engines, vehicles, the generators, what it emits, even gas flare, the entire world is running into serious trouble. So that for this reason, trying to manage the environment, because when you look at how the health, the state of health of individuals, it depends on is determined by three factors. But one is the genes of such an individual, the environment, and the lifestyle. So because the global community might not be able to control, as it were, they will have those, may not be able to totally control the genes of individuals across the world, neither could they be able to really look deeply into the lifestyles of individuals. But when it comes to the environment, nature is God's creation, environment is man's creation. Now, if we are going to be liberated from the dangerous elements that we are exposed to due to the use of fuel, the fossil fuel, then there is need for all of us to come together to control how our environment should look like. Yes, because life is all about what to breathe in and what to breathe out. And for us to preserve lives, there is need to look into this into the environment. So, as a people, as government, as leaders, I think there is need for us for the leaders now to encourage. I look at the area of agriculture, just like as we spoke about how we use proceeds from cocoa exports to do marvelous things. So also we still have the lands. We have arable lands. Even up north, I think about 2 days ago now, that the northern leaders, came together to discuss the way forward. Within their region, the way forward to economic advancement. Within their space there. They are looking at various things or what to do to make to inject more life into their space, and then for improved quality of life, for the people.
Now, as we wind down, what is fundamentally wrong with the current Nigerian constitution, and what specific key area needs amendment if we are to continue being together as a nation along the principles of equity and fairness? Very briefly, we have
along equity and fairness, because for us to really to live together as a people, we have to liberate as many as possible from all this inferiority, so we can work together in equality. Now, looking into our constitution, the number one thing there that you see is where a group of people that's the number one thing that you yank off. Where a group of people just came together and say, we people of Nigeria, we realize this not we, but now that we are coming together as we, then we can see ourselves as we. Now, for those who are experts in constitutional reviews, we have to consult them to inject things that will make us to prosper as people and to move forward as a nation. As a nation, we are used to the word a nation now, praying that Nigeria will become a nation. Okay.
All right. It's been an interesting time with you, Elder Johnson Ajilore, on Satellite on Oluyole 98.5 FM, and we've been discussing Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary and the state of the nation. Elder Johnson Ajilore is a respected public affairs analyst, a social activist, and the coordinator of Peace Advocates Nigeria. Thank you for coming, Elder Ajilore.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
God bless you.
Next week, Thursday, is another time, and we will be back on Satellite, God willing, with another topical issue. Till then, my name is Tola Teliba, your anchor on the program. Bye-bye.
Unbeatable, untouchable, the station that does it better. Oluyole FM 98.5 Ibadan. Toppable, unbeatable, untouchable, the station that does it better. Oluyole FM 98.5 Ibadan.
Àlàáfíà tayọ, healthiness equals happiness. Ìlera ṣe kókó, ìlera ṣe pàtàkì nínú ìgbésí ayé ẹ̀dá. Tá bá wà láyé tí ìlera ò pé, báwo gan la ṣe fẹ́ lo ìgbésí ayé ọ̀hún láti jẹ́ ká wà lálàáfíà. Ní ìkànnì Olúyọ̀lé 98.5 FM ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ ètò àlàáfíà tayọ, healthiness equals happiness. Health is wealth, so is happiness. Stay active, live life anew. Join us for active living and a life renewed on Oluyole 98.5 FM for your daily health guide every Thursday at exactly 5 minutes past 4 to 5 p.m. Tune in with pride. Healthiness equals happiness. Ẹ pàdé wa ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Thursday láago 5 kọjá ìṣẹ́jú 4 títí di aago.
Make everybody join me, say. Make it mobile.
Make you go with the best.
Make it mobile. 98.5. Oluyole FM 98.5.
It's 4 o'clock. This is oil. Senator Heineken Lokobere disclosed this in Cape Town, South Africa, while delivering a keynote address on behalf of President Bola Tinubu at the Africa Energy Week. The minister noted that the divestment had already unlocked over $5.5 billion in fresh investments within months. Senator Lukwobiri, in a statement today issued by his special assistant on media and communication, Onyemaka Okafor, stressed that President Tinubu's administration was committed to building a transparent, stable and investor-friendly petroleum sector to attract long-term capital. The minister declared that Nigeria is open for business and actively pursuing policies that prioritize investment